Let's talk to Sonny Sanfilippo, who's the athletics equipment manager at San Diego State. He joins us live on the Dish Hopper Hotline on his break at work, as I understand it. Sonny, welcome to the show.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
It's going really well. Are you on your break from work? That's how I heard it was going to be.
Yeah, we stepped out for a few moments to speak to you guys, so we're all good.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. So you're the athletics equipment manager at San Diego State. So you're not an NFL guy, but a big football program. And I wonder, just what was your reaction when you first heard this story that they'd been maybe deflating footballs in the AFC Championship game?
At first, personally, it's a bit silly to think that we're actually dissecting the result of a football game based off the pressure in the football, but I guess it's that week in between the Super Bowl, so we all need something to talk about. But to go back to your question, yeah, I thought it was kind of silly. I don't particularly think it had the outcome or an outcome on the game, as everyone can tell by the score. But yeah, just all in all, it was kind of silly to me. So. Have you ever been around on college level or any level? Are you aware of any other controversy around the inflation of footballs? Have you ever heard about anything like this before? Not to my knowledge. I've kind of worked in the industry for about 7 seasons now, and nothing really on game day or before game day has ever kind of come about to where we're looking at the pounds per square index, the PSI of a football per square inch, and really dissecting it before a game or really just breaking it down to where it can affect the outcome of a game. So it like I said, this is really it's strange, it's odd, but if they've come to a conclusion that that's what the result of their investigation is, then so be it, I guess.
Well, let me ask you, we're talking to Sonny Sanfilippo, who's the athletics equipment manager at San Diego State. Like I was saying, I don't know if you were on the phone yet, if you heard, but I was saying that baseball has this rich history of these little cheats that like the grounds crew can do to help the home team and little advantages that you can gain, some of them on either side of the legal, not legal line. What can the grounds crew, the equipment team, the personnel around a football team do other than inflating and deflating footballs? What are the little cheats and little things that you can do to help the home team?
The main common, I guess, advantage, if you will, that we use, and it's widely used amongst colleges, even at the pro level as well, is we use Velcro on our shoulder pads so they cannot be pulled away from our players' jersey, and that's kind of a common practice now all throughout football, especially at the collegiate level and at the professional level now. It used to be where equipment managers were using double-sided tape that they would put on the shoulder pad, the other side obviously attaching to the jersey. But now they've kind of come to using Velcro. So one side is obviously an adhesive sticker that applies itself to the shoulder pads, and the other side, obviously, the Velcro that applies to the jersey. And that's really the main thing that we use. So primarily on the offensive defensive lines, that there's not a lot of pulling or grabbing that could lead to holding penalties, if you will. But that's kind of the main advantage that we use.
Is that illegal in any way?
It is not illegal. No.
Okay.
So,
and it's not particularly the visiting team, I assume, can do that as well.
Yeah, and we usually apply that Velcro on at the beginning of the season before our first game, and it lasts throughout the season. So it's not something that we're doing on a weekly basis. It's once it's applied, it's on there for the duration of 12 to 14 games, however many you may play.
And have you ever, I don't want you to incriminate anybody or anything like that, but have you or anybody you ever talked to anybody who's had an experience where a player has come to the equipment team, the equipment crew, and said, hey, can you guys do this thing for me? And you or they have had to say, no, actually, that's against the rules, can't do that.
Yeah, we on the collegiate level, the players are kind of at your mercy. They kind of understand a little bit more than the guys do on the professional level. They kind of have their own little intricacies that really on the professional level that goes a lot further because they're $1 million athletes who, if they want something, they're more than likely going to receive it. But on the collegiate level, we kind of restrict them from doing little things that kind of would set them apart, or in their words, give them an advantage. So we kind of handcuff them from certain things that they like to do, whether it's adding extra tape to areas, on the shoulder pads, or adding more tack, which has never been a problem with us. Kind of the gloves that we give them, the tack is enough as it is. So we don't really, enhance the I guess improvements that they would like to see based off the stuff that we give them. But other than that, I would say I've never came across anybody on the collegiate level really trying to enhance what they do from what's normal.
Sonny Sanfilippo is the athletics equipment manager for San Diego State. Sonny San 619 is his Twitter feed, SONNYSAN 619. And reading back to the footballs, reading Matt Leinert's Twitter feed. I don't know if you saw this today, and he says every team, this is on the NFL level, of course, every team tampers with the football. Ask any quarterback in the league. This is ridiculous, he said. And others have agreed with him. We've had Sean King saying that, Boomer Esiason, Tim Hasselbeck, the two quarterbacks from the Bucs Raiders Super Bowl, Brad Johnson and Rich Gannon, both said, yeah, we paid the ball boys to rub up the balls and all this. Does that stuff happen on the college level? Do the players have any kind of access to the balls? And where do the balls come from in the college level?
Just to give you a general idea on how we do things at San Diego State is we'll get our footballs in the summertime, and then we kind of break them out as we need them. Usually our quarterback balls are the more pristine balls that we keep in our ball bags. Those are the ones that we kind of designate as the ones that need to be kept, I guess, if, for lack of a better term, well-groomed. But those are the ones that we rub down. Normally, what we do that actually helps a lot, and it might sound a little weird, but we actually rub those down in the grass. So the grass actually has a little bit of a texture and grip that it adds to the wax that's already applied to the footballs. And then, like I said, we'll keep those balls separate from all the other balls that the position group uses throughout the early stages of practice. And then when we get into our 7-on-7 team drills, that's when we'll bring out those quarterback balls so they can work with those. And then once we work those in for about a week or two, we usually put those aside for our game balls. And then at our last practice on Thursdays, normally for a game week, is we'll bring out all the balls for our quarterbacks to select 6, and those 6 will go in a special bag that will be given to the referees before the game. So, and then from that point on, what usually happens is the referees have them in the locker room a couple hours before the game. They check the PSI, and they usually mark the footballs with a Sharpie, some sort of Sharpie, whether it's metallic gold or sometimes you'll see a metallic silver. And the referees will usually put their initials or some sort of marking that will distinct that ball from any other ball that's on the field. So they kind of get creative on what they put on there, so it distincts that football apart from others. And then really the personnel who's in charge of running the balls will meet with the officials, and they'll go over what they want to see, when they should bring a ball out, and so on and so forth. So once we hand them over to the officials, we don't really get to tamper with them other than, a quarterback picking the ball up and a center picking it up in the middle of the field and throwing it around. So,
do you think that this taking 1 or 2 pounds per square inch of pressure out of a ball can have a real effect? I mean, I don't think anybody's really seriously arguing that that's why the score was 45-7. The Patriots clearly beat the Colts, but what if the score was closer and all the other facts were the same? Then this is an attempt to cheat, or does it really make a difference? And one other thing is, I don't know if you've dealt with this being at San Diego. Does cold weather have an effect? Would the balls just deflate because of the weather?
It's good that you mentioned the weather. Obviously, when a ball's pumped up to PSI, and the NCAA rule is anywhere between 12.5 to 13.5 PSI. So what?
Right, that's NFL also.
And correct. And then back to your weather thing. So when a ball is in that range, just in cold weather, it just typically feels a lot harder, just because of the colder temperatures. Here in San Diego, we're not really, or we're fortunate to play in a nice warm weather cities where we don't deal with that often. But the ball would definitely feel a lot harder in colder temperatures. As far as the PSI is concerned, anywhere really a ball that's at 11 PSI or 10 PSI is not going to feel much different from a ball that's at really 13 PSI. You can really kind of tell, or where most people would think a ball is squishy or flat, that's kind of in the 5 to 7 PSI range. So really when it's anything lower than 10, you might be able to tell a difference, but from really 10 on to 13, there's not a drastic difference really. And an official that's spotting the ball in between the hashes on every play, and especially in the game this past weekend at Foxborough when it's raining and pouring and he's got a towel and he's trying to wipe off the ball, they're really not going to notice a difference if it was down to 11.5 PSI.
That's interesting because this whole thing started because Colts linebacker, after intercepting a pass, said that he did feel a difference, and it turns out with the investigation that he was right. So how do you kind of explain that? Yeah,
I would just say from what I've seen and from what I've noticed, balls that are significantly less inflated. I've been around balls enough or footballs rather, that are at 11 PSI, 11.5 PSI. There isn't a drastic difference. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and they can say that the balls were, inflated or deflated. But to me personally, 11.5 PSI just doesn't seem like a drastic difference enough to sway the outcome of a football game.
All right, interesting stuff. Sonny Sanfilippo, the athletics equipment manager for San Diego State. Thanks for taking time out of your workday to join us.
I appreciate it. Thank you.